Not me picking up a book from the library that I've already paid for. Hi everyone, my name is Maddie and welcome back to my channel. I think this is just going to be an Anyway the Wind Blows reading vlog, but it might roll into this weekend. I'm going to have the house mostly to myself this weekend, and it's my first weekend being done work, so there's lots that I want to do. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to split those up into 2 videos or roll them into one. It'll probably be dependent on how quickly I finish this and how much other content I have and how much filming I've done. So yeah, I ordered Anyway the Wind Blows pretty much as soon as I could, and once Rainbow had revealed the bookshelf version of Carry On, because I would love for them all to match because I'm a little crazy, but my copy hasn't come in yet. And because I didn't know where I would be living when the book was released, it's getting sent to like my home address, not where I'm living at school right now. So even when it does show up, probably be a couple weeks before I can even get it. But luckily, my library had a copy in, so I picked that up and now I'm going to be able to read it, which I am so excited for because I've been waiting for forever. I wish I was a little bit more excited. I've been switching my meds and that's been making me feel very sleepy, so hopefully this vlogging will help keep me on task with everything that I need to do. I picked up some thread because I'm trying to finish this quilt that I started a year ago, and of course I can't go into a craft store without picking up other stuff. They finally had the box of markers that I've been trying to find for forever, and then Crayola also has a Skin Colors of the World box that I've been wanting to get, because even their like white colors that are in the like standard pack have way too much of a pink undertone to be a realistic skin tone. So it's super cool that they put that box together, and I'm really excited to maybe try it out this weekend and sample some of those colors. I also have to get a crack in my windshield fixed, so I need to go and call my insurance, do a little bit of work, and then hopefully I will have some time to read. So stay tuned for me probably squealing about what is in here. I'm very nervous. I hope it is an excellent finale to an excellent trilogy. Well, I'm back in the disaster of a world of mages that is currently Simon and Baz and Penny and Shepherd's Lake. Ugh, I forgot how badly I just want to like hug them and make it better, but like I also understand trauma and that they have to go through this, which is part of the reason that I loved Wayward Son so much, is because I feel like there's so many chosen one narratives that don't deal with the like emotional toll of what it means to like feel like you're living your whole life as someone that you're not. So about 50 pages in, gotta take a little break for a meeting, but then I'll probably get back to reading, even though it's making me sad. Stay tuned. I gotta say, I lucked out with reading weather. It's a nice thunderstorm outside, so I've got my tea, my blanket, and my book, and I'm reading all about Baz and Simon's trauma. I've been trying to think of who my favorite character is, and I think I've been both Baz and Simon. I think I've been Baz, where I'm like trying so desperately to hold on to someone and see them think that like they deserve to have good things in their life, and I've been Simon, where I don't feel like I deserve those things or that I've earned them, or if I'm just gonna make a mess of everything again. So I'm curious to see where they go on their journey, and I'm hoping I can kind of go on it a little bit with them with my own trauma in my life. So over 100 pages in, stay tuned. I thought this might happen, but okay, so it is Tuesday now. I had my research presentation this morning, which I think went pretty well. So I'm gonna be kind of chugging away at a bit of work later today and just kind of taking it easy after getting that big day under my belt. But I've been thinking a lot about what I've read in Anyway the Wind Blows so far. And this might be a small spoiler just because I'm going to kind of talk about the context of Baz's and Simon's relationship early in this novel, so if you don't want to hear about it, I'll be sure to time card this section in down below so that you can skip past it if you want. But essentially, I've been thinking a lot about this I don't know if trope is the right word, but in literature, and I think it happens in real life too, this idea of I'm not going to let you walk away from this. And I feel like in books and in movies, it's used as this like profound romantic statement of like, I'm not leaving you when things get hard, which I think it can be, but I think I'm also struggling to wrap my head around where the line is, where that stops being love and that starts being abuse, because I think I understand both Simon and Baz so well in this book. I'm really struggling with it, and it's really hitting close to home, as you can tell by the waterworks that are apparently starting. I don't think Simon's decision to try and walk away from their relationship was wrong, and I think he's really hurting and he really needs some help and he really needs to heal. And I do think that that doesn't necessarily mean that he's, you know, not ready to be in a relationship. I think it's very much a trauma response to push people away when they get close to you, especially with everything that Simon's gone through and feeling like he's not worthy of having Baz and worthy of being in love. I don't know. I think I'm torn between are they growing through this together, or are they like latching on to each other in a way that's not necessarily healthy? Because I feel like Baz is getting angry at Simon for not trying, which again, I have been Baz in a relationship before where I'm like, you need to give me something, like you're not seeing how much I care about you right now and how much I'm here because I want to be here and because I want to fight for you. But I also don't know how you manage that constantly without feeling like you're dying inside a little bit as the time goes on. So yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of emotions, a lot of thoughts, hitting real close to home. So stay tuned. We'll see how I feel as the rest of the relationship goes along. Okay, I'm definitely over halfway through the book now. So I think I have like 200-ish pages left. And I gotta say, I'm not like freaking out about it as much as I thought I was going to. I think like as much as I love having the characters separated, and I think that's kind of like a really cool twist, I think it threw me off a little bit from what I was like used to with the first two books. And then I think as much as I like love the like working through the trauma aspect of Baz and Simon's relationship, I think some of like the physicality for that is like difficult for me to like connect to. I think it's just my ace brain being like, okay, yeah, can we be vulnerable and have open conversations about our feelings? But does sex have to come into it? And I mean, I guess it makes sense because, you know, that is a very vulnerable thing, and that is something that is difficult when you're working hard enough to try and be like close to someone who matters to you. Maybe it's just me being ace and not being able to relate, but stay tuned. Alright, so I've taken some time to try and process all of my thoughts about Any Way the Wind Blows now that I've finished it, and I'm going to try and articulate it to you without crying. Overall, I want to say that I was disappointed in the book, but I'm trying to figure out if that is an actual disappointment with the content of the book, or if it's like my own personal discomfort with some of the topics hitting a little bit too close to home. So I think one of the first things that I want to talk about is just a general sense of things feeling very rushed. Particularly, I feel like Agatha's storyline felt almost a little bit forced and a little bit like it was kind of being pushed along in the background without acting in like a linear or some sort of indirect connection to the main plot line. And I think that was like really frustrating because I definitely think Agatha deserved to get more of a storyline,
but I don't think it happened in a way in this book that like finally built up that sympathy and connection for her that I've been looking for since Wayward Son. In addition, I think the accumulation of the wrapping up of Simon's family and Simon discovering his past is incredibly rushed. I don't even think Simon truly processes, well, I guess that's a bit of a spoiler, so I won't say that, but I think some of the stuff that started with the ghost of Lucy coming and carry on doesn't even get resolved, and it's kind of like forced into a couple sentences. And I understand that this book is supposed to be about them healing their trauma and going through it, but I think I get frustrated because it feels like the rest of their life stops to deal with this trauma. And this is where I think some of my own personal discomfort might come in, because that idea terrifies me, to like get to a point where you don't have anything to do but sit with your trauma. But I also wonder about how healthy it is. And this is where I have a lot of thoughts about the way that Simon and Baz's relationship is portrayed in this book, particularly the correlation between sex and healing emotional trauma, because it seems that sexual intimacy is a way to heal emotional trauma. And I do understand where that comes from the aspects of, you know, being vulnerable with each other. And I'm also like aware of kind of the narratives around, well, in the historical context behind queer sex that inherently makes it a radical and political act. And I think that's part of where that fire of their love is kind of getting correlated to this healing and to, you know, kind of overcoming the way that society has told you that you have to express yourself and you have to express love. However, I think particularly as an asexual person, I had a lot of resistance to that because it was something that I couldn't relate to, and there was this discomfort for me reading it because I couldn't relate to that feeling of like wanting someone physically so bad that I need them there. I think there was a lot of elements of like the emotional expression of some of the conversations that was happening that I did resonate with, but that physicality really separated me from them. And I had a feeling that like their sexual relationship was going to be something that was at the forefront in this novel, but I guess I just didn't realize how much, and it really made me distanced in a way. Like it kind of made me feel outside of the book, or that I couldn't relate to their trauma in the way that I have been able to relate to it the past two books. I do think that some of my discomfort with their relationship though comes with my own discomforts with relationships as I try and like work through my aerospec identity and my past relationship that was a bit of a mess. I definitely think I have been both Baz and Simon, and I think particularly I've been Simon a lot lately in this book, where I don't feel like that feeling of not feeling like I deserve the love, or like not even knowing how to go about that. Like when he's saying like, is this what people do regularly? I definitely feel that, and it hit a little too close to home for me, though I think sometimes my discomfort came from that like visceral emotional pain and reaction, which is why I've been trying to like sit with these feelings before articulating them to you, in hopes that I could start to separate some of those personal opinions from like overarching thoughts about the book. But yeah, I think one of the other things that I struggled with is with that correlation between sexual intimacy and healing emotional trauma, is that in order for that to happen, they separate Baz and Simon from the rest of the gang. And I understand why they do this, because, you know, very much this book is kind of like split off into these pairs, which they're kind of romantic pairs, which that's a whole other conversation about amatonormativity, but whatever. But I think the thing that frustrates me with that is I think Baz shouldn't be the one who's solely responsible for helping Simon heal his trauma, and I knew that they do have a very similar chosen one type, this is who you're going to be trauma, that kind of helps them understand each other. But I don't think it's healthy that all of that healing is like condensed within their relationship. I think they need Penelope, and they need Shepard, and they need like even Agatha and all these other external people to help them shape and frame the image of who they are. And I think that's something why we get these kind of intimate moments with Agatha and Simon that I wish we had more of, because even though, you know, they weren't meant for each other romantically, it's like there was definitely some sort of connection there that like built between the two of them that is still something that is important to Simon and is helping him process and understand that part of his life. And I really wish we had more of that, and it didn't feel like Baz and Simon against the world, because I feel like that's where we were at the start of Carry On, and I kind of wanted us to get somewhere where it's not just them, but this whole support system, and I didn't necessarily feel like we got all of that, because of course at the end, you know, it's still Simon against the world sometimes, so yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of conflicting thoughts. I think I'm definitely, like, I think disappointed is one of the things that I feel about the book, but I do think it does have a lot of conversations that needed to happen and should happen. I just don't know if there was a way that they could have been separated or approached better or woven together in a bit of a different way, that it didn't feel like all of this kind of closure was being like rammed into the last couple chapters. That's just my thoughts. I'm doing lots of reading up on the book to try and help shape some of my other ideas about it. If you guys have any feedback, if you've read the book yourself, feel free to drop me a comment down below. I would love to hear about some other thoughts on the series, because it is, of course, one of my favorite series. In the meantime, if there's anything else that I can do for you guys, any other videos or things you'd like, drop me a comment down below about that, and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell and turn on notifications so that you can see when I post my next video, which I'm thinking of doing a little kind of weekend reading vlog now that I am finishing up my job, and I'll hopefully have some time to read more if my brain cooperates. So thanks again for watching, and until the next video, stay kind.